along with Anurag Mohan, welcome you all to the inaugural session of the 11th International Conference on Global Business Environment 2026, jointly organized by IMI Bhubaneswar in collaboration with the University of Portsmouth, UK. Today, gracing this occasion, we have distinguished academicians, Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, Professor at IMI Gurgaon, Professor P.C. Biswal, Director at IMI Bhubaneswar, Professor Humagni Chaudhary, Visiting Professor, University of Portsmouth, UK, Professor Saurabh Sharma, and Professor Rajesh, Conference Convener, IMI Bhubaneswar, with us. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. As the sunlight expels the darkness of the night, as the sunlight expels the darkness of the night, as the sunlight expels the darkness of the night, similarly, blessings bring in prosperity and happiness in our lives. Going forward with this saying, may I now request the esteemed dignitaries on the dais to light the ceremonial lamp and mark the commencement of the conference. May I request one of the conference delegates to join.
Vidisha.
May I now request Gunjal Saluja to present Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh with a sapling as a token of our respect. Thank you, Gunjal. May I now request Prachi Anand to present Professor Humagni Chaudhary with a sapling as a token of our respect. Thank you, Prachi. May I now request Soumya Parida to present Professor P.C. Biswal with a sapling as a token of our respect. Thank you, Soumya. Now, I request Professor Saurabh Sharma, Conference Convener, to brief the audience about the 11th International Conference on Global Business Environment.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Dignitaries on the dais, Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, Professor at MDI Gurgaon, Professor P.C. Viswa, Director IMI Bhubaneswar, Professor Bhumangli Chaudhary, Visiting Professor, University of Portsmouth, UK, Professor Rajesh Katia, my colleague and co-convener, conference delegates from various institutes from India and abroad, faculty colleagues from IMI Bhubaneswar, members of staff and media, dear students. On behalf of IMI Bhubaneswar, it's my honor to welcome you all to the 11th International Conference on Global Business Environment, jointly organized by IMI Bhubaneswar and University of Portsmouth, UK, with the theme of Strategizing for Sustainable Future, Navigating Business Technology and Environmental Challenges in Changing World. Now, this is the 11th edition of the conference. Last 10 conferences we organized with IGADE B School, Mexico, and this year we have associated with the University of Portsmouth, UK. Over the last 11 years, the GBE conference has grown in terms of quality and quantity of manuscript which we have received. The 11th International Conference of GBE focuses on how organizations can develop futuristic strategies that integrate technological innovation, environmental sustainability, and long-term business viability. The conference will serve as a platform for business leaders, strategists, technologists, and environmental experts to discuss the critical role of forward-thinking strategies in driving sustainable growth among future technological disruptions. We have received an overwhelming response this year. More than 100 manuscripts have been received, out of which 62 participants have registered. So there are 9 technical sessions in 2 days, in which 50 research contributions are going to be presented. Apart from this, we are also organizing 2 workshops. The first workshop is today at 2:30 p.m. With the title Developing Research Papers for Top Ranking Journals and Avoiding Test Rejections, which will be taken by Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh. And tomorrow we have another workshop on simulation with the title Sustainability Management Simulation Net Zero in association with Harvard Business Publishing Education. The resource person for the tomorrow's workshop is Mr. Tim Rothmans, founder and managing director of Singh Institute, Dubai. Now coming back to again technical sessions. Each technical session is chaired by a professor of eminence. We are grateful to these eminent academicians for accepting our invitation to chair the sessions and hope that the delegates will be benefited from the valuable inputs. This year we've also started Best Paper Award, and the best part of that is that we are giving this Best Paper Award in each technical sessions. So there are 9 technical sessions, so 9 Best Paper Awards will be there. And each technical session we have around 4 to 5 research presentations. So there are fair chances for everyone to win this award. So once again, I welcome you all and wish you a very productive deliberation. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. It is a great honor to introduce Professor Pratap Chandra Biswal, Director, IMI Bhubaneswar. Professor P.C. Viswal is an academician with over 23 years of experience in teaching, training, consulting, research, and academic administration. He is a committed academic leader with a strong track record in driving academic excellence and institutional improvement. Prior to IMI Bhubaneswar, he was a professor of accounting and finance at Management Development Institute, Gurgaon from January 2010. And has served in multiple leadership roles, including Dean between May 2018 and March 2023, leading several key institutional initiatives. Earlier, he worked as ICICI Bank BFSI Chair Professor at TACME Institute, Manipal, and as an Assistant Professor at the Institute for Studies in Industrial Development, New Delhi. His research and consulting interests include risk management, derivatives, Basel norms, macroeconomic policy, and applied econometrics. He has published widely, presented at national and international conferences, and has been associated with major research and consulting projects for institutions including the Government of India, WHO, CDC USA, RBI, SEBI, and other leading organizations. Now, I would like to request Sir to please address the audience.
Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, Chief Guest of the conference. Mr. Chaudhary is the representative for partner institution in this conference, University of Portsmouth, Professor Saurabh Sharma and Professor Rajesh Katia, the convener of this conference, esteemed faculty colleagues, researchers from India and outside India, paper presenters, and people from media, and my dear students. Good morning to all, and it is my honor to welcome all of you to 11th edition of the conference, which is the Global Business Environment. As Professor Saurabh mentioned, so till 10th edition, so our partner for this conference was IGADE Business School, Mexico. This is the 11th edition. We are partnering with University of Portsmouth, UK. So I take this opportunity at least to thank our partner institution, Professor Vikas Kumar, who has been the instrumental, the force behind this collaboration. So he could not make it. He is the Pro VC of the University of Portsmouth and the leadership team of University of Portsmouth for their effort and contribution to make this the conference success. And we look forward to having this association for a long time. And if you look at it, I will not actually speak much. I am not a speaker or I am not a researcher in this area. Global business environment, what could be a better time than now? As we speak, there is protest going on in Iran. So there are actually if you look at the news, you will find it is said, yes, people are, it's almost like a freedom fight. It's people are looking at the liberation. So whether it is actually the people, actually they fight for the liberation or the freedom fight, or it is the covert operation done by some other economies, God knows. So that brings in a lot of uncertainties in the business world. So when we talk about our major theme of the conference is global business environment, that could not be a better time than now to discuss on this particular theme with bringing in 3 different pillars associated with this, which is about navigating the businesses in this time and the role of technology and environmental challenges what we face. All right. So let me actually I'll leave the technology. There are a lot of discussion. There are a lot of actually the firms we keep on discussing about pros and cons of the technology, but there is no point of discussing the cons of technology. So rather, it's better to actually focus on the pros of the technology and be prepared for the worst time if there are actually the limitations of it. So there are a lot of things, and I know the various researchers in the next 2 days will be discussing on that aspect as well as the environmental. Let me focus a little more on. So 1 minute spent on the global business environment. Why the discussion for 2 days of paper presentations by the researchers, faculty members, technologies, and the practitioners will bring in a lot of ideas for not only for the research as well as for the practitioners. As I said, if you look at the 2025, how many wars, right? Probably 2025, some bit up from 2024 onward, 2024 and 25. These are the years we saw the number of wars more than the wars what we saw after Second World War. We started with Russia and Ukraine, then moved to the actually Israel and after the Palestine, then the Israel to Lebanon, Israel to Iran. Fine. So moving again after the two. So the Thailand and after the Cambodia, then US intervening and after dropping after the bombs in Iran and other places. Why? And you look at the unrest actually happening in the various countries, they are all related. Whether it is Sri Lanka, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is Nepal, whether it is happening right now in Iran, there are multiple European. It's not that only the developing countries or the third world countries facing this after the unrest. So they are projected to be political unrest. I don't know. I'm not actually sure about whether really political unrest or there are some kind of covert and as well as overt operations. So all these things bring in global uncertainties or what we call business environment facing that challenge. So at this juncture, if the businesses continue to actually follow their traditional and conventional business models, fine. So they are not enough. So that lot of actually the huge and significant change in the business models required, whether it is manufacturing or the services sector, for that matter, even the government is actually there is a business house. If you look at it, governments are facing the challenges also, right? So they keep doing all the good works what they have been doing, but suddenly they find there are challenges happening all over the place. So that they have to also change their business model. So the same thing at this point, when I see that in next 2 days, the researchers and all the technologies those who are here will be actually presenting, will bring in some of the fresh ideas, not only for the research as well as for the businesses to come. Alright. So then one aspect is the business environment as well as the uncertainties what we see. Other two are the technology. As I said, there is not actually, I don't actually want to discuss much on technology aspects, fine. So there are many firms in fact to discuss. Can we do anything without the technology? Whether it is innovation to improve the productivity and efficiency using the technology, whether improving the customer experience through the CRMs, fine. Whether enabling the communications or improving the communications files to the various the CRM processes. So whatever actually the business on the global supply chain, it's really facing the big challenge. I think both Professor Rajesh Katia, Professor Rajesh Singh, they are from the operations area, probably they will be the better actually to speak of the global supply chain. You know, whenever uncertainties happen, what is facing the biggest challenge is the global supply chain. The companies are trying to constantly innovate their supply chains, right? So because how no supply chain model or no supply chain strategy nowadays is going to be there, and you cannot think of actually that is remaining stable or effective for even 1 year. So a lot of innovations, a lot of creativity, a lot of actually the models so are there on the global supply chain. So technology is going to play a big role, it's going to become enabler in all these aspects to make the businesses sustainable and actually for the future growth. So there is no doubt about it. The last pillar what is actually for this conference is about the environment. So environment or the ESG, which is the buzzword right now, is definitely cannot be a buzzword anymore, cannot be ignored by the organizations. So it has to be part of it. It cannot be just a window dressing after doing around the ESG, coming up with a compliance report. That is not going to make your businesses successful or the sustainable. So it has to be an integral part of any business we talk about. So we cannot do business without understanding the society, without considering the society, without considering actually the societal impact of it, without looking at the people and without looking at the environment. So I hope, so this is probably the best time to have discussions, deliberations on these pillars, right? Global business environment and the uncertainties, role of technology, environment in actually the changing, navigating the businesses and innovating the new business models. Right. So as Mr. Saurabh said, there are 9 tracks, and I'm sure there are many actual researchers who will have very deep discussions and deliberations in each of the tracks, which will provide not only the publication and the research opportunities as well as the new ideas to come. Let me take this actually to thank, as I said, University of Portsmouth as well as the organizers from IMI Bhubaneswar side, both the conveners, faculty members for their active support, and the staff members to making this active conference success. I would like to thank all of them. So there, right? So participants of this conference, those who are from outside Bhubaneswar or outside country, please take some time out to visit the temple city of Bhubaneswar also, right? So you must take some time out. Yes, it's a beautiful campus. Look around, move around the campus and experience it, and also find some time in the evening to visit temple city of Bhubaneswar. So you will have architectural marvel to look at the Lingaraj temple, right? You will find Udayagiri actually this one caves, right? And you have all these actually the beautiful places and the Bhubaneswar. Please take time out and visit those places. So look forward to the deep discussion, deliberations for the next 2 days. And so thank you all for coming and hope to actually wish this conference a success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Last year, for the 10th Global Business Environment International Conference, titled International Business Diplomacy, Global Trade and Economic Development in Developing Countries, jointly organized by IMI Bhubaneswar and IGADE Business School, Mexico, was held at IMI Bhubaneswar on 24-25 January 2025. Based on peer review, selected papers from the previous edition of conference are now ready to be published in Scopius Index Anthology. May I now request all the dignitaries on the dais, Professor P.C. Biswal, Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, Professor Humagni Chaudhary, Professor Saurabh Sharma, and Professor Rajesh Katiyar to release the 10th GBE Conference Anthology titled Business Diplomacy, Global Trade and Economic Growth, published by Parallel Macmillan, New York, USA. We are grateful to have with us today Professor Humagni Chaudhary, Visiting Professor, University of Portsmouth, and co-convener of this conference. Professor Humagni Chaudhary is a distinguished economist and academic leader with extensive experience across leading UK institutions, including Aberystwyth University, the University of Portsmouth, and Kingston University. His research focuses on trade policy, labor markets, productivity, and economic development, with significant contributions through funded projects supported by organizations such as the British Council, FCDO, CEPR, BVSRC, and the Global Challenges Research Forum. He has authored numerous peer-reviewed publications, commissioned reports, including for the World Bank and EIJ, and edited volumes for international publishers. A committed research mentor, he has supervised multiple doctoral theses and served widely as PhD examiner across UK universities. He also holds key external roles as visiting professor, consultant to ICRIER, and advisory to research initiatives in South Asia. With a PhD in economics from the University of London, Professor Humagni brings more than a decade of leadership experience, deep engagement in international collaborations, and a strong record of shaping research, teaching, and policy impact in the field of economics. Now, I would like to request sir to please address the audience.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, fellow academics, industry practitioners, my dear students, and members of the media and public. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 11th International Conference on Global Business Environment, jointly organized by IMI Bhubaneswar and the University of Portsmouth in the UK. Over the years, IMI Bhubaneswar's International Conference on Global Business Environment series has evolved into a meaningful academic platform that brings together diverse perspectives on how businesses operate, adapt, and lead in an increasingly complex global context. I think reaching the 11th edition is a moment of pride for IMI Bhubaneswar, and I would like to congratulate IMI Bhubaneswar on this fantastic achievement. And this 11th edition is not just merely a milestone of success, legacy, and continuity, but it also reflects the sustained relevance of this conference in responding to the changing contours of the global business environment. This year's conference is especially significant because it represents a strong international academic collaboration between IMI Bhubaneswar and the University of Portsmouth, two institutions committed to rigorous research, responsible management education, and global engagement. We are particularly delighted to see faculty and researchers from India, from the UK, the US, and other parts of the world contributing to this shared intellectual endeavor. as Professor Biswas said, at a time when global challenges demand cross-border thinking, this conference stands as an example of how academic partnerships, international academic partnerships, can foster meaningful dialogue, comparative research, and co-creation of knowledge that is globally relevant yet locally grounded. The theme of this year's conference, Strategizing for a Sustainable Future, Navigating Business, Technology, and Environmental Challenges in a Changing World, could not be more timely. We are living in an era where sustainability is no longer an ethical add-on or a regulatory obligation. It has become a strategic imperative. Businesses today must simultaneously respond to climate risk, technological disruption, social inequalities, and volatile global markets. Strategy, therefore, is no longer about optimization alone. It is about resilience, responsibility, and long-term value creation. What is particularly encouraging about this conference is the breadth and depth of scholarship reflected in the papers that have been selected for presentation over the 2 days. So across these 2 intensive days, the conference hosts 9 technical sessions, carefully curated around critical dimensions of sustainability and global business. Looking at the program, the papers presented span themes as varied as precision agriculture, talent mobility, ESG disclosure and performance, greenwashing, sustainable tourism, amnesty disclosures, entrepreneurship, creative industries, amongst many other areas, demonstrating how sustainability cuts across sectors, functions, and geographies. Importantly, several studies reflect regional and emerging economic perspectives, while others bring in international, comparative, and policy-oriented insights, reinforcing the truly global character of this conference. Beyond paper presentations, the conference also places strong emphasis on research capacity and skills development. The workshop on developing research papers for top-ranking journals this afternoon and the simulation workshop on sustainability tomorrow are invaluable additions, especially for early career researchers and doctoral scholars seeking to strengthen both methodological rigor and practical relevance. This integration of theory, method, and application is precisely what contemporary management research must strive for. Conferences such as this are not only about presenting completed or ongoing research, academic research, but they're also about dialogue, about critique and collaboration. They provide spaces where ideas are refined, assumptions are challenged, and new research partnerships are born. So I encourage all of you, all the participants in the conference, to actively engage in discussions, offer constructive feedback, and explore opportunities for interdisciplinary and international collaboration. Because the challenges we are studying cannot be solved in silos. We'll also be very proud to showcase some of the best of the research papers in an anthology that will follow the conference. Finally, I think a conference of this nature, scale, and size would not be possible without the tireless work and dedication of the organization teams and all the contributions and all the contributors. While there will be a formal vote of thanks by Professor Katiyar following our keynote speech by Professor August Kumar Singh, shortly, I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank IMI Bhubaneswar for being the lead organizer and hosting us here today, as well as to our partner institution, where I come from, the University of Portsmouth, for their academic collaboration and organizational support. I must particularly thank our conference patrons, Professor P.C. Biswal, Director of IMI, and Professor Vikas Kumar, who's Deputy Vice Chancellor at the University of Portsmouth, for their vision and guiding light. And my fellow IMI conveners of the conference, Professor Saurabh Sharma and Professor Rajesh Katia, for the heavy lifting they have done along with their local organization team comprising of faculty, coordinators, student volunteers, and administrative and support teams. And most importantly, huge thanks to our chief guest and keynote speaker, Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh from IMI Gurgaon, for gracing the occasion, and all who have contributed to this conference, whether they are reviewers, session chairs, presenters, and participants who have traveled far to be part of this conference and whose presence and scholarship gives life and meaning to this event. So, as we formally inaugurate the 11th International Conference on Global Business Environment, my hope is that the conversations over the next 2 days will not only advance academic knowledge, but also inspire actionable insights for businesses, policymakers, and societies striving for a sustainable future. So with these words and without any further ado, I once again welcome you all and wish you a stimulating, enriching, and memorable time over the next 2 days. Thank you, and I wish the conference every success.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to have with us today Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, Professor in the area of operations at IMI Gurgaon. Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh is a professor in the operations management area and chairperson admissions at Management Development Institute, Gurgaon. Before joining MDI, he has also worked at Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Delhi, and Delhi Technological University. His areas of interest include supply chain and logistics management, Industry 4.0, digital transformation, and carbon neutrality. His total Google Scholar citations are around 18,000 and H index is 74. Currently, he is serving as an associate editor to IEEE Transactions on Engineering and Management, ABDCA, ABS3, International Journal of Global Business and Competitiveness, Springer publication, and Operations Management Research, Springer publication. He has also worked for around 6 years as associate editor for International Journal of Consumer Studies, ABDCA category journal, Wiley publication. He is also in editorial board of Journal of Supply Chain Management Systems, Journal of Asia Business Studies, Emerald, and Vision, the Journal of Business Perspective, SAGE publication. He has also figured among the top 2% researchers in the world as per study done by Stanford University scientists continuously from 2020 to 2023. He was also awarded B.K. Birla Distinguished Research Scholar Award for Social Sciences and Management 2021-22 at national level and also received awards for excellence in research in 2019-2020, 2021-2022, 2023-2024 at MDI Gurgaon. He has published papers in highly reputed and impactful journals ABDC, A-Star, ABS4, such as International Journal of Operations and Production Management, Transport Research Part E, Information and Management, Technological Forecasting and Social Change, Business Strategy and the Environment, Resources, Conservation and Recycling, Journal of Cleaner Production, Production Planning and Control, Annals of Operation Research, International Journal of Production Research, Journal of Business Research, Industrial Management, and Data Systems. He has also worked as guest editor for many special issues of journals such as Resources, Conservation, and Recycling with an impact factor of 13.08, Sustainable Production and Consumption, Competitiveness Review, Journal of Modeling in Management, Administrative Sciences, Global Journal of Operations and Strategic Sourcing, etc. His research paper, A Literature Review and Perspectives in Reverse Logistics, has been awarded Most Cited Paper by reputed journal Resources, Conservation and Recycling. His few papers were also given Everett Networking Network Award. Now, may I request Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. So it's my great pleasure and honor to be part of this conference. And heartiest congratulations to IMI Bhubaneswar and organizing team, Professor Sharma, Professor Katia, and Professor Chaudhary, and of course the participants. And biggest congratulations to Professor PC Swal, the director, highly energetic and dynamic, to whom I know for past 10 years. We have been dean at MBI and I have been working with him. I know that during this time, the research output at MBI increased significantly. And you know that the biggest contribution of research in MBI is writing. So my session, basically keynote session, will be on how can we achieve the net zero goals for developing countries. Because if you look into the theme of this conference, which is on sustainable futures, and if you look into the current global business environment, we can't find a better theme than the present theme, because the way market is changing and it's highly dynamic and unpredictable. Finding the theme better than sustainable future and how can we predict the present business environment is not possible. So really, biggest contributions to IMI Bhubaneswar and the whole team. Now, you know that recently we had a news that India has become the fourth largest GDP in the world. This is very good news. And it is one of the fast moving GDP. And if you look into the vision of the government of India, we are aspiring to be a Viksit Bharat, that is developed country by 2047. This economic growth is really very good. It's very good. But at the same time, if you look into our latest report by Januarv, and that releases the report of the Global Climate Risk Index. And as per that report, India ranks in the top 10 countries in terms of climate risk index. So although the economic growth is good, but whether the future is sustained or not, that is the biggest question over there. So we need to look into that, how this economic growth can be sustainable. So basically, in present context, we have to make a balance between the growth and the sustainability. So if you look into the growth of country and sustainability need to balance together. And you can also look into that, how this climate risk is impacting the global business. A lot of data are there which are very concerning for us, that how can we make a balance. It's a big paradox to maintain a balance between the economic growth and the sustainability. So, if you look into some of the data, which are very, very important for us to understand, that although the India is the fourth largest GDP, but in terms of the carbon emission, this is the third largest country. And in terms of the contribution of the total CO2 emissions, it is 70%. 75% of the Indian emissions is coming from industry, power, and transport sector. 70% of Indian electricity is dependent on the coal. It is said that if you do not control or do not take the corrective measures for climate risk, 24.7% of India's GDP can lose by 2070. And India's long coastline, 7,500 kilometers, is facing a rising sea levels, which is threatening to the port city. Heat stress is also reducing the world class. So these are impacting basically the overall performance of the production systems and our industries. So overall, 2/3 of the India export is also at risk because of these climate risks. Because a lot of regulations are coming from European countries, which makes it mandatory that our product should be sustainable, it should be environment friendly. So this is very important nowadays, that how can we ensure the sustainability in our production systems. And if you look into the impact of the climate risk on agriculture sector also, this is also causing a lot, and that can cause the undernourishment by 20-25% by 2050. Moreover, recently you might have read the news that in particularly the metro cities like in Delhi, a lot of respiratory problems are happening. So this is also causing a lot of impact on our health infrastructure. And it is said that if you look into the corrective measures on sustainability or climate neutrality or the carbon neutrality, then investing $1 can give you benefit of $2 to $10. So this is very justifiable that industry should work towards the sustainability. Then that will only ensure the sustainable future. And if net zero by 2050 would raise the global GDP by about 7%. As compared to current business environment. So this is very mandatory that we need to be highly sustainable. Now, why it is important climate neutrality or carbon neutrality? Because it's not only that it's leading the sustainability or taking care of the climate change, but this is the requirement of the regulations coming from international markets. It also helps us to improve the cost efficiency. This also helps us to improve the brand reputation. So we need to go for climate neutrality or carbon neutrality. So basically, I would like to tell you that how this climate neutrality or carbon neutrality work. It does not mean that we have to remove the carbon emissions, but whatever emissions are coming, we need to absorb that emissions, and overall emissions should be zero. Then only we can achieve the target of net zero, or we can say the carbon neutrality. Every year we have COP, that is the Conference of Party meeting, and all the countries have set their target. India has also set the target of 2070. As you know that it's a big country, and achieving net zero goals is not so easy. So the target we have set by 2070, whereas other countries have set by 2050 and 60. Some of the smaller countries have already achieved this target. So this is very important for us also, that we should speed up our efforts or whatever technological innovations we have to improve the sustainability. But if you look into the challenges of the developing countries, particularly like in India, and why we are not able to achieve the sustainability or carbon neutrality, the challenges are coming from different dimensions. It may be in terms of dependency on fossil fuels, like 60-20% of plants are based on goods. Oil and gas dominate the transport sector. Infrastructure issues are there, like government is promoting the EV vehicles, but we do not have the charging stations. Majorly in India, we have huge informal sectors where 50-80% employment is coming from those sectors. We are not able to track that how much emissions or pollution is happening due to those informal sectors. And if you look into the cost also, then investing in the new technology is a big challenge, because for many of the Indian companies and in India, if you look into the contribution of the SMEs, it has a significant contribution, and they are not able to invest on these technologies. So that is also another challenge, that why India is facing problems right now to achieve the target of carbon neutrality and net zero. If you look into the emissions happening across different sectors in India, then the power sector or the energy sector is contributing a lot. So 70-75% emissions are happening from energy sector, majorly from power generation, industry, transport sector. And agriculture is also contributing around 14-20%, which is higher than the global average. So basically, what we need to do, we need to work a lot among the energy sector to control the emissions. So when we talk about the emissions, controlling the emissions, we need to understand that what are different types of emissions. Majorly from industry, we have three types of emissions. scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 1 emissions are basically directly controlled by the company. But the major challenge is that how to control the emissions which are happening by your customers, by your suppliers, and that is a part of scope 2 and scope 3 emissions. The major challenge is to control the scope 2 and scope 3 emissions. And if you look into some of the data from different industries of the emissions coming, then you can look into this slide that cement, steel, and mining are basically contributing to scope 1. So scope 1 emission you can control by having the better technologies, better systems. But if you look into the electronics, automotive, and food industry, and which is expanding or increasing very fast, because if you look into the e-commerce or the retail sector or electronic sector, these sectors are growing fast. So the contribution of scope 3 emission is very significant. Now, if to control the scope 3 emissions coming from these sectors is a big challenge, because you are dependent on your suppliers, you are dependent on your customers and retailers. So basically, the collaboration across different members of supply chain is very important. And how we go to the collaboration across the supply chain members is important by having some digital tools, by having some streamlining of the operations. That's a big challenge for most of the supply chains or industry nowadays. And none of the industries can survive if there's a complete supply chain collaboration. So if I say that if you have to achieve the sustainability, we need to move from a linear system to circular-based system that we call circular economy. And in the circular economy, basically the basic elements which we have, that is we need to promote the new revenue business models. New revenue business models mean that we need to promote that we could promote the product use rather than owning it. And we need to have product design. Product design is a very important part, because most of the sustainability part of the operations come from the beginning, that is the product design. Product design has to be sustainable. At that moment, you have to decide that what should be material, how much energy will be required, how process will be designed. So most of the sustainability is decided at the beginning stage, that is the design of the product. And after that, I said that in supply chain, because we are talking about the scope 3 mission, supply chain collaboration is the most important part. We need to promote the reusing and recycling of the product. We need to promote the renewable energy sources and the natural resources over there. So if you look at how to bring the sustainability in the product design, as I said that circularity in the systems can be brought only when you design a product which is sustainable. And to design the product which is sustainable, you need to look into that how to reduce the product material, how to make the product recyclable, how to ensure that the less energy is required, how to design the product. Product can be integrated or the modular product design. So we need to promote the modular product design, and we need to make the design which is very, very, very simple. Because if the design of the product is simple and modular, it can give you flexibility and customization of the product, and which will help you also to make the system more sustainable. So these are basically different circular economy based practices and very popular framework which normally discussed in supply chain, that how can we bring the sustainability in your system, that we call the resolve framework. And in this resolve framework, basically we talk that we need to restore the resources, that is the regeneration. We need to ensure the sharing of the product, sharing of resources. We need to optimize the process by streamlining the operations. We need to make the closed loop cycle, that is the circular economy based system. We need to promote the online system, and we need to promote the exchange of the old products in the newer one. So these are some of the best circular economy based practices which can help you to promote the sustainability. And apart from green initiatives, we need to look into the lean initiatives also. Basically, the lean operations help you to eliminate the waste, to streamline the operations, to reduce your inventory cost or logistic cost or warehousing cost. So all these initiatives are also very important, because sustainability does not mean that only you have to work on the green operations, but you have to also think that how can we bring the lean operations. So for bringing the lean operation, we need to have just-in-time inventory, process optimization, like we talked about the value stream mapping, which helps us to optimize the process. We need to engage the employees also, because employee engagement is very important to bring the sustainability across different functions, not only at the final product. We need to promote the regional sourcing also, and if you look into the COVID or present dynamic business environment, local sourcing has become really very important. It not gives only the sustainability, it makes our business more resilient also. So nowadays we are talking about not only sustainability, but we are also concerned that how to bring resilience in your operations. As Professor Biswal and other speakers have talked a lot that digitization is very important, and this is the most important enabling factors nowadays if you want to bring sustainability or to bring the resilience in your operations, or you want to make your production system more robust. So a lot of technologies are being used nowadays across different industries, IoT, blockchain, AI, digital twins, and all these tools are helping us to monitor the emissions happening at different stages. It's helping us to monitor the inventory. It's helping us to ensure the proper maintenance, to decide the productive maintenance. It helps us to make a digital twins. Digital twins can help you to simulate the complete production system by which you can analyze different scenarios that how emission will happen whenever you are making any change in the production systems. So nowadays all these things have become very, very important, which are helping us to make the process more sustainable and more lean and more productive. And now I'd like to present you some of the Indian cases and international cases which demonstrate that if you take the initiatives which are more lean, more sustainable, they are not helping only to improve your productivity and performance, but they are also helping to achieve your sustainable development goals. They are also helping you to make your business more sustainable. So if you take our Indian case, a very popular case, that is Amul, it has taken a lot of initiatives, bringing recycling, circular operations, recycling of waste, natural resources, renewable energy sources. A lot of initiatives, a lot of digitization have been done in this company, and by taking these initiatives, the company has achieved 3.5% reduction in the carbon emissions, 20% reduction in chemical use, 12.5% reduction in consumption, and 8.2 renewable energy use. And moreover, water discharge is almost zero, and rainwater harvesting is helping it to ensure that 30% of the groundwater availability over there. So ultimately, this particular Amul taking a lot of initiatives, helping to the society, becoming more sustainable, more streamlined. Similarly, if you take the case of Apple, this is also taking a lot of initiatives, and it's promoting that you can change your old mobile, and a company look into that, whether we can refurbish that mobile, and after refurbishing, company again sell it at the discounted price with the warranty. So basically, it's promoting the reuse, the recycling, and reprocessing. And moreover, this is also using the advanced technology system, that is robotics. And you know that in Apple mobile, we have a lot of very valuable metals, rare earth magnets, gold, silver. So basically, robotic disassembly is also being used. With the help of these robotic disassembly, it is able to procure all the valuable materials, and it's taking a lot of initiatives to net zero goals. And by taking these initiatives, it has recovered around 61 million pounds of materials. And this robot disassembled around 200 iPhones per hour. So it's promoting recycling and circular economy practices across different operations. If you look into the Reliance Industries, it's a highly integrated industry. It's having the complete digital twin system. Digital twin means you can have the complete virtual system. You can have the complete simulation of the process. So basically, it's based on application of AI, IoT integrated systems. It's helping to monitor the emissions happening at different stages. You can also do the predictive maintenance and complete time to achieve the net zero goals by 2035. And by taking these initiatives, 10 to 15% improvement in terms of energy efficiency, and other losses have also got reduced by 50%. Similar case is Mahindra & Mahindra. We talked about the Industry 4.0. So if you have to look into the best example of Industry 4.0, highly integrated company that we call it smart manufacturing, Mahindra is one of the best examples. So although it has integrated the complete assembly line, complete manufacturing system with AI and IoT, but it is also helping to reduce the emissions across different functions in assembly line. It is helping to improve the maintenance. Predictive maintenance is better than having technology system over here. And it has achieved 30% reduction in the energy consumption per vehicle and 25% lower downtime by having these digitization tools. So overall, after going through these cases, I summarized that what are key solutions to ensure the net zero goals. These solutions may be we need to phase out the coal plants, invest in clean energy, retrofitting of the building to ensure the sustainability. We need to decarbonize the cement and steel industry because these are the biggest polluters. And we have to shift to electric vehicles, increase the public transport systems. Aviation is the biggest polluter also, which is causing a lot of pollution. So we need to decarbonize the operations. We need to promote forestation, and above all, we have to reduce the food wastage. That's very common, particularly in Indian context. And we need to promote the vegetarian food because if you go for non-vegetarian, that also causes a lot of emissions. Although maybe. Basically, when I talk about the net zero goals, I would like to go over here that achieving net zero goals does not mean only sustainability, it is also helping you to achieve the sustainable development goals. United Nations have given 17 sustainable development goals, and nowadays business performance is not measured by only financial parameters. We also look into that, how many goals are being achieved by a particular organization. If you look into the Amul case, it's able to achieve 5 to 6 the sustainable development goals. So, it's helping to eliminate poverty, it's helping to reduce the hunger, better health, better education, better gender equality. So, our organizations should try to achieve the sustainability goals apart from only the carbon emissions and the financial parameters. So, concluding the recommendations, we have to achieve the net zero goals. Particularly for the developing countries, I can summarize that we need to transition to low carbon electricity and renewable energy, promote sustainable multimodal public transport system. This is the biggest challenge in India. If you visit European countries, the best part you look into the integrated public transport system. In India, everyone is using your personal vehicle, and the public transport system is not that strong, even in the developed metro cities. Also, that's causing a lot of emissions. And recently, our minister, Mr. Gadkari, said that in Delhi, 40% emissions is basically coming from transportation sector. So, if you have the public transport system, we can control a lot about the emissions. We need to promote the low emission processes through R&D and technology. But in India, most of the companies do not invest in technology, in R&D. They are more conscious about the cost reduction. We need to promote the smart cities with IoT and AI, developing forest and carbon sinks. We need to have energy efficient design of buildings. We need to promote the sustainable behavior of public. This is also really important because if we have to bring the sustainability in the society, public behavior is very important. If you look into the different functions, celebrations, lot of food waste or behavior to move from one place to other place, that's a very important part. And above all, regulations and policy. The government formulates the policies, but the compliance of those policies is not that very strong. So we need to ensure, like in European countries, the compliance is very strong. That is not in India. So finally, I'd like to conclude that net zero is not a destination, but it is a journey for a sustainable future and of the business and society. So thank you everyone. We have thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Professor P.C. Biswal, Director IMI Bhubaneswar, to present a token of appreciation to Professor Rajesh Kumar. Now I will request Professor Rajesh Katiyar, conference convener, to propose a vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, we express our sincere gratitude to our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Rajesh Kumar Singh, for graciously accepting our invitation and taking time out of his busy schedule to deliver the keynote address. His insightful address set the tone for the meaningful discussions and inspired all of us with his knowledge and experience. Thank you, sir. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our respected Director, Professor P.C. Vishwa, IMI Bhubaneswar, and Professor Vikas Kumar, Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Portsmouth, UK, for their constant encouragement and unwavering support, without which this conference would not have been possible. We are deeply thankful for the valuable international collaboration with the University of Portsmouth, UK, and we sincerely appreciate our conference conveners, Professor Saurabh Sharma, Professor Humagni Chaudhary, and Professor Nigel Williams for their dedicated efforts and significant contributions, which brought a global perspective and academic richness to this conference. Thank you, Professor Humagni and Professor Sharma. I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the session chairs, viewers, for their time, expertise, and effective guidance, and my sincere gratitude to my all faculty colleagues for their academic contributions and continued support. I would also like to thank all the conference committee members, with special mention to Ms. Minu Gupta for her commitment and meticulous coordination at every stage. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to our research scholars, Shweta, Subhada, Prabhas, Vijayani, and our student volunteers, Chandramodi, Sachin, Shreya, Vishnu, Kriti, Soumya, Tapasya, Anurag, Gunjal, and Isha, whose discipline, dedication, and hard work played a crucial role in the seamless execution of this event. We gratefully acknowledge the tireless support of the IT team, whose dedicated efforts ensured seamless technical operations throughout the conference. We also thank the media for their coverage and support in highlighting the significance of this academic event. And we express our sincere gratitude to all the sponsors whose generous support made this conference possible. Our appreciation goes to the administrative team, especially Dr. Malay, for ensuring efficient logistical and administrative support. Last but most importantly, we thank all the conference participants, delegates, presenters, and attendees for their active participation and valuable contributions. Once again, thank you all for being part of this memorable academic journey, and I wish you a very engaging and successful 2 days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request everyone to stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय 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 हे
Now I request all the dignitaries and delegates to join us for a group photograph at the amphitheatre, followed by a high tea at the cafeteria. The technical sessions of the conference will start at 12 p.m. in CR1, CR2 and tutorial room located on the ground floor of the academic building. For any queries, please feel free to contact our registration desk. Thank you everyone for joining us.